broadcast live.
Gents, I mean, firstly, I want to get into the music, and I just want to get into the whole thing about Detroit. You know, I've been following rap music for a minute now, right? Mm-hmm. But there's this type of unity that I always get from the cats from Detroit, you know? I mean, obviously, the biggest guy that's come out there that we've all seen, and there's a whole movie around it, was Eminem, you know? Mm-hmm. What is the bond with Detroit acts? Because even a guy who's got such mainstream success like Big Sean is still collaborating with a lot of the Detroit artists, you know. And I saw you on tour with Dej Low for like last year or so.
Yeah, about 2 years ago. Yeah.
So I mean, what brings you guys together as just like as artists to kind of build this whole thing?
I would say keeping a legacy. You know what I'm saying? Detroit got its own culture and history and a legacy that from Berry Gordy to Dilla to Eminem, and it's just kind of continuing it. With our branch, you know what I'm saying, is continuing the legacy of Dilla. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, and pushing the culture forward at the same time. So, you know, that's in Detroit. It's really kind of like cliquish. You know what I'm saying? So Eminem had his crew. You know what I'm saying? Dilla had his crew. And, you know, when we could cross paths and work together, we do so. But for the most part, you know what I'm saying, we just move as a unit and, you know what I'm saying, just continue to rap.
Yeah. And I mean, is the freestyling how's the freestyling scene out there? I mean, how's the rapping scene? I mean,
I say the underground scene is crazy out in Detroit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily how it was back then, like with the freestyle and shows and all that, but it's definitely a blossoming scene. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people coming out the city.
Yeah. Guilty. I saw you worked with. I'm a big fan of Sean Price, and I saw that you were once in rest in peace to him. You were once in a crew with him. I mean, I was just, you know, for me, he always said like this out of the box things, you know, and I was like, that's crazy. I mean, your memories just working with him and just doing anything with him and just being around him. I'm just interested in him as a person, you know.
I mean, his rap style was similar to how he was as a person. You know, just real zany, one of a kind, clever.
Yeah.
He made it a point to kind of incorporate that into his rap too. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think as any MC, your rap style should be an extension of who you are as a person. You know what I'm saying? So he was actually good at capturing that. You know what I'm saying? So you have to know him to really understand who he was as a person. You know what I'm saying? But he was a unique guy. You know what I'm saying? Fortunate to have worked with him. And you know, through me and Black Milk, you know, we'll keep Random Acts going as much as we can. You know? Salute to him and the family. You know?
So the game changing and everything else. Young, you are literally like from what I checked, you're a producer now, and I won't lie, you know, because we wouldn't get a lot of we wouldn't get a lot of video of a lot of stuff, you know. When the Slum Village members were changing, you know, you kind of missed it unless you caught up with it later, like, oh, now they got a new member. But I just always felt that there was a distinct sound with Slum Village, you know, where even if the members were changing, you would still feel that particular sound, you know. As a producer, the whole game is changing with regards to the sound of hip hop, you know. I mean, what makes you feel like, okay, cool, I'm still do that, and I'm also just like come through and just start making music as a rapper, you know. Where's the line that you cross as a producer and go, I'ma just get on the mic also, you know?
Well, I think the thing is, to answer the first part of the question, the reason why Slum Music was able to stay consistent was because Dilla taught me how to produce. Okay? So from him teaching me how to produce and being there since Volume 2, I've been a part of every album. Which is on the production side, engineering and making sure, you know, it kind of kept the core sound of what Dilla already laid the foundation on. So that's the reason why we was able to do it. Me and T always, you know what I'm saying, worked on every project. So the sound was consistent. Second part of it was, it's only so much expression you can give through production. you know, they can get it, kind of get your personality through production, but voicing your opinions, getting your opinions across, and whatever message you're trying to bring. So that was the next phase of it.
Yeah.
You know, so I just wanted to put my own expression out there, you know what I'm saying, and come in and fulfill By 10's wishes, which was when he passed to keep the legacy going.
Yeah.
You know, him and Dilla wanted us to continue to keep the legacy going, which is why we continue to do Slump to this day.
Yeah. All right, cool. And Super, you know, I listened to your tape, you know. I don't want to lie, you know, I mean, I literally, when I found out about you, which is not more than 24 hours, I literally started listening to your stuff, you know, and
appreciate that.
And I love it, you know. It's that hip hop that I kind of like grew up on, like, you know, where it's the beats are dope, you know, the raps are dope, and everything else, you know. Just specifically, I'm on Ghetto America, you know, right now, the tape. Like, I just sometimes, you know, you see these things, and we also, like, from a community where there's a lot of poverty, communities where there's a lot of poverty. What's a picture of Ghetto America? Because, you know, we see the glamorous picture, you know. It's in the line was a picture of Ghetto America.
Yeah, it's like an oxymoron kind of.
Yeah, you know, we see Hollywood, you know, everybody aspires for the beautiful side of it, but what's the picture?
Ghetto America was really like, in the music, I'm telling my story, you know what I'm saying? But Ghetto America was just to relate. Everybody relate to their own piece, where I'm from, obviously. And shit, that could be wherever you from around it, ghetto South Africa, ghetto, you know what I'm saying, wherever. It's just however you relate to me telling my story, showing you where I'm from, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not really a certain place, you feel me?
Yeah.
It's just a mindset, like time.
Yeah, Gilton, you've been around a whole lot of cats who I think have paved a lot of the way that lyrics are written, you know. I mean, you look at like I think like guys like Joey Badass, I could hear the Duck Down influence, but you've been around those type of circles, you know. You know, and I'm assuming this just off like just the work that you've done and everything else. For you, what's the importance, or what's the importance of just like maintaining like the lyrical aspect of everything? Because you vibe, like you get in lyrically. You know what I mean? You the type of guy I want to literally be in studio and just watch writing and recording. You know?
Yeah.
Sure.
I just more or less just stay true to who I am. So much going on around the world, so it's always a current story to tell. You know? Even if it's not my story, I'm influenced by a lot of stuff that I hear and see. But at the same time, I have to stay true to my perspective and not try to branch too far out of my element and, you know, overextend myself to stay relevant. You know, I think some people that's been around for a while tend to reach a little bit and kind of lose track of who they are. So I think as long as I stay true to who I am and, you know, be willing to intake content, I always have something to rap about, or you know, I always have a style to add to the game. You know, I think once the artist stops listening, then that's when the downhill spiral starts. You know, you start buying into your own hype and being your own #1 fan. You know, so for me to be able to listen to myself and still see things that I can do better, that's kind of what motivates me to keep my sword sharp, so to speak. So, you know, and being around, just like you said, being around as many talented people as I have through my life, I would much rather stop than not be able to uphold the standard that I set for myself.
Yeah. As an artist, and I mean, all you guys are writers, is it the words that come first? Is it the rhymes that comes first? Is it the story that comes first? Do you write and then you just find it rhyming? You know, I mean, what is generally the process? You know, what comes first when you're just about to just start writing anything? Is it the music, you know?
Yeah, the music.
Probably, for sure.
Where the music takes me, what it makes me feel like.
Whenever I hear the beat, think about just get the zoning, man. Think about real life, you know what I'm saying?
Haven't you been in a situation where you are I mean, I'm assuming that like before anyone gets on a beat, you just start writing.
Yeah.
You know, before you even get on a beat,
Yeah,
you know, you
yeah.
just
Yeah, for
start
sure.
writing.
Do that a lot.
Yeah, so that so that's why so that means that's when the story is probably
The
stronger
story
than,
come
than
to
the
you.
music.
You think about something. You in a situation that make you think about something from the past, or with somebody that make you think about. You know.
Yeah.
You
Definitely.
might write something and eventually hear somebody make a beat that goes to what you wrote. So, I mean, it's different.
Yeah.
So sometimes you could just have just something you've written, but like, cause the music.
Yeah,
you
the
haven't
process
found the
is not
music.
always
yeah.
the same.
Not always the same.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
never,
It's
never.
not always the same. I like to approach the track the same way most of the time, with just thinking about what I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's just because I'm conscious of what I like to put out there for my listeners.
Yeah.
But it always change up. You might be writing on the bus, in the shower.
Everywhere.
You like,
That's what I'm
Writing
trying to
in your
figure
mind.
out. You know what I mean? Like, it's in your mind,
exactly.
memorizing
Sitting
it
there.
in your mind.
Period.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think that, you know, we just rap. It's just the only form of articulation, though, for us. You know, for us to actually say what we want to say, and the fact that the distribution channels like on digital now that allow us to communicate this, what we say starts becoming more important, and the value of the game also becomes more important, to also have a balance of telling the story, you know,
Right.
versus just the balance of just making a song with no message, you know.
Period.
I mean, I also, because, you know, we run a digital agency, and I'm always looking at social pages and everything else. How important is it for you guys, though, to be on those platforms to get your music out?
Very important, y'all. What we do is only a part of it. Y'all help get the music to the masses. So
Period.
y'all just as important to me as
As a DJ.
as a DJ.
DJ,
Y'all are the
listening.
DJ now.
Blogs are the new DJs for sure.
So, you know, y'all play a major part, which is why, you know what I'm saying, when you were saying thank you for coming, you know what I'm saying, we like, no, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Because you opening up a different lane with your platform for us to, you know, make people aware that it's new music out there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Broadcast live